All right, we are asked to do the integral from 0 to pi of 5e to the x plus sine of x. So the antiderivative, oops, it's 3 sine of x. I always like to double check that I have the right thing before moving on. So the antiderivative, if you just remember that the derivative of e to the x is itself, it makes sense that the antiderivative would be itself. And that constant just goes along for the ride. And you can double check that the derivative of 5e to the x is 5e to the x. So in the same light, I think about how the derivative of sine is cosine, but then I think about how the derivative of cosine is negative sine. So it makes sense to me that this needs to be a negative, the constant still goes along for the ride, but it needs to be there as you're doing this problem. And then you have your bounds from 0 to pi. You can double check that this is correct because the derivative needs to equal the original problem. So now as you plug in your upper bound, 5e to the pi minus 3 cosine of pi. And then I also always tell my students to make sure you plug in the lower bound as well. And this is especially important because, well, let's look at the unit circle real quick. So you draw the unit circle in green, and pi is over here at -1, 0. So it's important because cosine is -1 there. So we're looking at 5e to the pi. So that would make this plus 3. E to the 0 power equals 1. So 5 times 1 is 5. And then cosine of 0 is right here where the x coordinate is 1. So 3 times 1 is just that value. So we're looking at 5e to the pi. 5 minus 3 is 2. So 3 minus 2 gives me 1. And this is your final correct answer.